The best fights of what could become the year of the heavyweights. The first big fight of what ought to grow into the year of the heavyweights is likely to be a 12-stone hors d'oeuvre between James DeGale and Chris Eubank Jr. in February. That super middleweight battle of Britain is expected to be announced by ITV this week as a pay-per-view box office special in London. Whether DeGale v Eubank becomes the UK curtain raiser to a 2019 in which the heavyweights finally reclaim for their division its historic place as the ring's marquee flagship depends upon whether Anthony Joshua joins Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury in a three-way shootout to find its first undisputed world champion since Lennox Lewis. In a perfect world, if such a rarity is still feasible in this increasingly commercial sport, WBA, IBF, WBO and IBO title holder Joshua would be fighting WBC champion Wilder for that Holy Grail at Wembley Stadium on April 13, with the winner then defending his universe against Fury in late summer. Let us not hold our breath. Joshua seems certain to opt for an April rematch against Dillian Whyte, who he has already knocked out once, and may well go on later in the year to his US debut against Jarrell Big Baby Miller. That makes sound economic sense in terms of risk versus investment but would neither satisfy his declared ambition to become the undisputed nor do too much for his legacy. Exactly how his wider crossover public view such a strategy is uncertain. Those at the O2 ringside a weekend ago heard the booing of Edge as he made an appearances in the ring as being critical of his refusal to immediately nominate Whyte as his upcoming Wembley challenger despite his fellow Londoners' thrilling co-victory over Derek Chisora. Wilder saw it differently, as dismay at Joshua failing to come to terms for their own long-awaited showdown. Both camps blame the other but Wilder has cited suspicion that Team Joshua would stall the negotiations once more. So he announced that rather than being strung along further he is granting Fury a rematch. "I'm going with Tyson again," Wilder has let be known in the US. There is something traditional and noble in that stance. Their pre-Christmas fight in Los Angeles ended in a draw controversy with Fury protesting he was robbed by the judges despite being decked twice and Wilder arguing that he was deprived of a last-round knockout by a long count. Wilder adds, "After controversy you've got to go straight back to the rematch? Anyways, many people in England have told me Joshua was being booed for not fighting me. So it's the Fury rematch for sure. We gotta have a winner and a loser." A repeat of that epic would provide another heavyweight fill-up to boxing's renaissance, but without fully satisfying the demand for the best to take on the best. Promoter Eddie Hearn has admitted that Joshua v Wilder is still unlikely. There is a glimmer of hope in Hearn sticking by an agreement with Wilder's team that he will no longer keep going public with details of discussions. As Edge has also assembled a modern young team of managers as well as financial and image advisors, it is unclear as to who may be a stumbling block at his end of a possible deal. Since his Olympic golden days I have always believed Joshua to be a street fighter at heart who would take on any man. I remain convinced that if asked he would fight King Kong. Not just the Cuban heavyweight contender Luis Ortiz but the one who hung out on top of the Empire State Building. Yet Lewis is not alone in hinting that Joshua is the one avoiding Wilder and of late Edge has been talking in riddles about the impasse. Yes, he prefers to unify against the man from Tuscaloosa, Alabama as soon as possible. No, he will not agree to a percentage share of the loot. After being upstaged by Wilder v Fury he spoke about how both he and the American could each up their ante. Then Joshua came up with another flat fee suggestion for April 13 which would give Wilder double the best purse he's ever earned. Since Wilder's biggest career paynight is reported to be his $10 million for knocking down Fury, presumably Team Joshua are thinking in the region of $20 million. At current exchange rates that would be roughly £16 million. To put that into context, the revenue potential for an undisputed title fight at Wembley could be as high as £100 million. Do the percentage math. Lewis is urging Joshua overrule your advisors by insisting they make the Wilder fight happen by proposing a 60-40 financial split in your favor. Fearing that the impasse may become embarrassing for British boxing, he adds, "I never dodged anybody." Hearn says he has been talking with Fury, presumably in case the Gypsy King beats Wilder in their second fight. But in that event, negotiations for a Wembley unifier later in the year could prove even more fraught. Fury is already saying that he would be the main attraction and would expect the thick end of a 70-30% split. Even without Wilder v Joshua, which would ensure a bonanza, 2019 should still be a boom year for boxing, not least on television. DeGale v Eubank looks like being the first product of a new liaison between US promoter Al Heyman and ITV. That arrangement promises a sustained revival in terrestrial coverage here to help widen the boxing audience further beyond the Sky and BT subscription networks. There would be no world super-middleweight belt on the line for Chunky or Junior, but there would be a fascination with seeing which of two men at the opposite ends of their careers could reopen the door to another title challenge. The next 12 months will also see Callum Smith and Josh Warrington looking to carry their newly won world titles into unification battles in the U.S. Youth is rising fast with the three Joshes, Taylor, Kelly and Buetsy, among several chomping at the bit for world title shots. Not that the old guard are done for. Amir Khan is close to landing a challenge to world welterweight champion and pound-for-pound contender Terence Crawford this spring. That is a typically courageous bid for legacy over lucre. Like DeGale v Eubank, that fight could be confirmed this week. If so, it will leave Kell Brook to concentrate on potential title fights in his new super welterweight division, and his British grudge fight with Khan still there on the back burner. We leave 2018 with Fury crowned as the Ring Comeback Boxer of the Year and sharing the magazine's Round of the Year with Wilder for that tumultuous 12th in Los Angeles. Alexander Usyk, having become the first ever undisputed world cruiserweight champion via two monster fights in Eastern Europe, clinched Boxer of the Year by retiring Tony Bellew. As for British Boxer of the Year, my vote has to go to Warrington for upsetting two world-class countrymen, Lee Selby and Carl Frampton, to win then retain his world featherweight title. It was close between him and the Gypsy King, but Fury will have his chance to claim both world and UK crowns in 2019 by bidding to become world heavyweight champion a second time. Wilder and hopefully Joshua permitting. Come on Edge. Do what you've always done. Prove the doubters wrong.